This is Pioneer Field Agronomist Scott Eversgerd with this week's weekly agronomy message. From a soybean standpoint, starting to see a little bit of SDS show up in a few more fields every day. Keep in mind, sudden death is a root disease. So as we start to see the foliar symptomology of that root disease, keep in mind really what's really happening to the soybean plant is happening under the soil. Now always keep in mind as well that sometimes to see a little SDS tells us that we've set a pretty good pod load on the soybean crop. So a lot of times in 25, 30 lower yielding beans we won't see sudden death because the pod load just doesn't have that much demand on the root system. But in higher yielding beans, 50, 60, 70 bushel pod load, the demand on that root system is pretty significant. SDS being a root disease, that's when we start seeing the foliar symptomology. From a corn standpoint, looks like that the corn crop's really maturing pretty quickly now. The last couple weeks with a little bit of heat and some sunshine, really seeing the crop starting to dry up. Seeing a lot of fields with dry husks on green corn plants. That's a very good thing. The corn's maturing very well. Also starting to see those fields kind of really yellow up and plants really losing late season nitrogen and starting to really mature. Keep in mind, with that maturity is going to come the opportunity for some late season stalk rots, especially is what we need to keep an eye out for. Anthracnose will be the big one. You could also see Diplodia stalk rot, Gibberella stalk rot. So if you haven't been out there in a while, get out in your cornfield, strip those leaves back on the bottom 2 feet of that stalk, and really look for some black shiny lesions or anything else really going on in that corn plant near the base that could ultimately affect standability. As you think about corn harvest, what I've been hearing the last couple of weeks, gas prices have definitely fallen. So if you have the opportunity and you have a good dryer set up, definitely going to be worth getting out there and getting this corn crop in early before anything really bad can happen to it. Just back on the soybean front, really the late beans, I guess I'm really impressed how they look. You know, we had some beans planted mid-July, late July, even a few in August, but some of these late July beans I thought, may not ever get knee high. Some of these beans are already approaching mid-calf. A few of them are getting to knee high. So then they've still got a month to grow. So these beans could definitely get plenty of height and really it's all going to depend on the frost, what the yield opportunity really is. And kind of the last note for the week, keep in mind any prevent plant acres. The weeds are still growing out there. Every chance you get, knock those weeds down. Just ultimately trying to keep that seed bank as low as we possibly can headed into next year. As always, if you got any questions, please contact your local Pioneer rep. Thanks.